Do you feel like you're never enough? In this video, I'm going to guide you through 5 steps to overcome the inner critic and to build a better relationship with yourself. The inner critic is that judgmental voice inside your mind, a voice that can undermine your self-worth, taking away your happiness and telling you what you can and what you can't do. But what if you could change that voice in your mind? What if you could heal it? What if you could even turn it into a supportive and loving part of yourself? Stay with me to the end, where you can learn how to access my free course, How to Heal Emotional Pain and Transform Your Life. Here's what we're going to cover. First, we're going to explore the inner critic's voice, helping you to understand its source and its purpose, because for so many people, it was learnt in childhood. Then we're going to focus on how you can work with the feelings that inner criticism creates so that you can change its impact on your emotions. Then we're going to move on to self-compassion, teaching you how you can replace criticism with kindness, even learning how you can give that part of you the love that every part of you deserves. After that, we're going to explore how you can reframe the inner voice of criticism so that you can actually consciously create a better dialogue with yourself. Finally, we're going to discuss exactly how you can build new emotional patterns so that you can live your life with confidence. Let's begin. Step 1, identify the inner critic's voice. The first step is to recognize the inner critic for what it is. It's one of many different voices in your mind. It's not intrinsically you. The inner critic is just a voice. You don't need to listen to it. And also, you don't actually need to believe it. To find freedom from that voice, you need to build awareness around it, because with awareness, you will be able to consciously separate the voice of the critic from the other thoughts that you hear. Pay attention to the thoughts running through your mind. Have you noticed that different parts of you actually have conflicting ideas? One part of you, for example, might want you to stay in a relationship. One part of you might want you to leave. The inner critic is the voice of judgment. Set the intention to observe the voice of criticism without judgment, because a common mistake that people actually make is to judge themselves for judging themselves. This only makes criticism stronger. Try to not resist the voice. Allow the voice to be there, because this is going to develop an awareness around that voice to the point that when it's present with you, you could actually just gently say to yourself, the voice of criticism is with me. Because it creates a separation between the voice of criticism inside of you and you. And this is actually going to help you to feel safer, because as you develop awareness, you're going to begin to be able to gently question, does this voice sound like somebody from the past? Is it the voice of a parent? Where did I learn this voice from? Whose messages led to this voice forming inside of me? Did I teach myself this voice? Maybe it was a critical parent, or maybe it's a voice that you actually developed to keep yourself safe from failure or rejection. Perhaps it's the result of something that you regret from the past, something you've not forgiven. Take this awareness deeper. What's the tone of this voice? You might even notice that you could actively imagine changing the tone of that voice inside of you. Imagine you could play with it, make it softer. Even imagine that you could turn it into the voice of something silly like a cartoon character. Because all of this is going to help you to separate the voice of criticism from the other voices in your mind, because the truth is you have many. The voice of the inner critic has a protective intention. It might have been developed as a way to prevent mistakes, seek approval, or protect you from pain. As you develop awareness of this voice and watch it, instead of listening to it, you loosen its impact because you stop believing it. You create distance between the voice of the critic and your sense of self. This separation will allow you to see that the inner critic is actually a learned pattern that can be healed. Step 2, focus on the feelings. When you focus on a voice in your mind, it actually creates feelings in your body because you're actually in a state of trance. These feelings like heaviness in the chest, tightness in your stomach, or a block in your throat will actually reinforce those thoughts in your mind. And those thoughts, of course, will strengthen the feelings. It's like a circle, a negative circle that's called self-hypnosis. But here's the good news. you can change those thoughts. And the best way to change those thoughts is actually to change the feelings. It's really about learning ways to feel safe, to access the raw energy of emotion, because everything you feel will transform. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to where you feel the tension in your body. Because when you feel feelings again and again, they're going to reflect into muscle tension in your body. Put 2 fingers from each hand onto that place of tension and actually use your fingers to breathe into the center of the feelings as deeply and slowly as you can. As you inhale in through your nose as if you could breathe into the center of the feeling, almost as if you're breathing into a balloon. At the end of your breath, gently pause and say to yourself in a soft and loving voice, safe. When you exhale, imagine you're breathing out the energy of that feeling all of the way out from your breath. And at the end of your breath, remember, how does it feel to smile? In your next breath you breathe in, breathe that smile into the feeling, as if you could breathe that smile into the center of the feeling. Hold your breath, say to yourself the word safe, and then breathe out again. If you repeat this cycle of breath a few times, you're going to notice the tension and stress of that feeling beginning to relax. Breath work like this will allow your body to process your emotions naturally, because our body knows exactly what to do. And you will notice that the voice of the inner critic will actually calm in your mind, because thoughts create feelings and feelings create thoughts. When your thoughts change, your feelings will change, and when your feelings change, your thoughts will change. Step number 3, practice self-compassion. Self-compassion is actually the antidote to the inner critic. Think of it as developing a higher voice in your mind, a voice of kindness, support, and understanding. Imagine that every thought you think is actually something which you're saying to the child inside of you, the emotional part of your mind. Practice speaking to yourself with kindness and love, because as you practice, your awareness will grow. You will get better at noticing when you're actually in the pattern of self-criticism. And when you do, pause, apologize to yourself. Imagine that you could write those negative thoughts on an imaginary piece of paper in your mind. Erase them and smile. And then consciously replace the critical thoughts with words of encouragement. Say to yourself, I'm enough, it's okay, I'm safe. Tell yourself that you're good enough. Smile more. Even if you made a mistake, take a moment to remind yourself of the lessons that you learned from that. Intend to forgive yourself. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend, offering yourself support and kindness, actually beginning to shift your inner dialogue from judgment to support. Over time, this practice will transform how you relate to yourself. In fact, this practice will transform your life. Step 4, explore the inner critic's messages. Moving deeper into a space of self-inquiry, ask yourself questions of the voice of the critic in your mind, as if one part of you could speak to another. This is meta-consciousness, developing a higher voice in your mind that can speak to a lower one. Engage in specific thought generated by the inner critic. What evidence supports this thought? Whose voice does it represent? What's the intention behind this thought? When you believe this thought, how does it make you feel? How does this feeling influence your behavior? And how does this make other people react to you? With a deepening practice of self-inquiry into the inner critic, you will often find that the inner critic's intention is to protect you in some way. Perhaps by trying to prevent you from getting hurt or avoiding the pain of rejection. By recognizing this positive intention and relating to the inner critic in this way, you are actually changing the way you relate to the voice of criticism on an internal level, fostering understanding instead of conflict. As if one part of you is developing a better relationship with another part of you. This is a foundation of the art of inner relationship. Consciously speak back to the critic with kindness and reason. Acknowledge its concerns and offer a balanced perspective. For example, if the critic is telling you you're not good enough, respond by telling yourself it's okay, you are enough. Remind yourself of how you're learning and growing with each day. Remind yourself of your positive growth, of your positive changes, because this form of inner dialogue will help you to reframe the critic's messages into constructive thoughts, and all of this is going to help you to feel better inside. Step 5, build new patterns of self-worth. Healing the critic creates space for new patterns in your life, both internally and also externally. New patterns that are going to grow your feelings of being enough. Understand and live in alignment with your values, your needs, your beliefs, your desires. Surround yourself with the people who support you. Live in alignment with your boundaries. Engage in practices like meditation, visualization, mindfulness, gratitude, and affirmations. Listen to some of my guided hypnotherapy processes because they're going to help you to feel much better. Eat healthily, exercise regularly, celebrate your progress each day, focusing on how you've learned, how you've grown, rather than perfectionism. Because all of this, by creating habits that reinforce your self-worth, are going to actually strengthen the voice of positive judgment inside of you, judging yourself positively for how you're living your life. And each of these things is going to improve your relationship with yourself. This type of reflection is going to improve every relationship in your life. And all of this, it's going to strengthen your fundamental feeling. You're enough. You're good enough. And just like everybody else, you're continuing to learn, to grow, to improve, and get better with each day. Overcoming the voice of criticism is about recognizing for what it is, working with the feelings that it creates, replacing that voice with compassion and support. It's about transforming your relationship with yourself, reclaiming your confidence, and living an aligned life. If this video resonated with you, then I would like to invite you to join my free course, How to Heal Emotional Pain. This course is going to help you release emotional wounds and build a stronger relationship with yourself. The link to the course is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.